My name is Isaiah, and this is a YouTube channel that I'm going to be starting called Outlaw Garage. Behind me is my 1997 BMW 328i that I'm going to be LS swapping. Beside me is a Gen 3 LS. It's a LQ9 6.0, an iron block. I got it off Facebook Marketplace a couple months ago, and when me and my dad were tearing it down, we ended up finding out that the cam bearings were completely shot, which needed a full engine rebuild for the most part. So I kind of cheaped out a little bit. I didn't go with forged rods and pistons. I left the stock rods and pistons in there. They've been polished, and the crank was also damaged. So it now has an LS2 crank that's been balanced and polished as well. So the whole rotating assembly is pretty much freshened up. It has a Melling high volume oil pump. It has a BTR stage 4 camshaft for the LS1. I'm going to be putting AFR 230 63 cc heads on it, as well as a BTR equalizer intake manifold. So essentially it's going to be somewhat built. I mean, it's going to have the stock rods and pistons, but for the power level that I plan to make, it should hold completely fine for as long as I have this, hopefully. It's going to be mated to a T56 transmission out of an F-body. And I'm essentially just hoping it's going to be a pretty fun toy to have around. This is my 97 BMW 328i. It's a little rough around the edges, but we'll get it back up to its former glory. I've had it for about 4 years. So what I'd like to get done today is hopefully put the heads on, and then I need to tighten up and torque down the bolts on the rear main seal plate. I need to put the valley cover in, as well as the cam sensor. And then possibly test fit my intake manifold with the fill rails installed, but we'll see if I have enough time to get done with that. This right here is the heads that I have going on them. Really, really beautiful heads. Gonna clean them up a little bit because they've been sitting before I put the final install, so I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning them up right now. I'm not relocating the knock sensors, so I almost forgot that I have to clean the stock valley cover. And this thing's pretty gross, so hopefully we can make it look, well, at least better than what it looks right now. So this right here is the stock pedestals that go inside the head. The rockers sit on top of these, and I'm not buying new ones, so I figured I'd clean up the stock ones that are off the stock heads. And so far it's going pretty well. Still a little bit ways to go. But as for this valley cover, this thing was a pain in the butt. It's not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner than what it was, and I've been spending a lot of time on it. I need to take these little gaskets out and get new ones, as well as new knock sensors. So I'll probably do that sometime soon. Don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, but gotta get them. And I might touch this up just a little bit more, but so far, how I'm feeling right now, I just want to be done with it. So that's clean, and now this has to get cleaned. All right, so got this cleaned up. I might spray paint it black just to clean it up a little bit more. The bottom is definitely a lot cleaner than what it was. I might spray some brake clean over it and just go and give it another pass with the red rag. This right here is a lot cleaner as well. Way better than how it looked. Got all that gunk off of it. Obviously it's not going to be 100% clean, but I did what I could. The heads are pretty clean, so now is a good time for me to put the head gaskets on. I'm gonna go over the actual surface of the block once more just to clean it up a little bit. And I'm gonna come back, put the head gasket on, and put the head on. All right, that's clean. So now I'm gonna go get the head gaskets and then I'll come right back. So I got some genuine GM head gaskets to put on. I believe they are 0.5 or 0.051 thickness. Should be the OEM ones off the LS2. Yeah, these look funny. Go. All right, perfect. So those are on. I'm gonna look down the holes where the head bolts are gonna go just to make sure that they're clean. I cleaned them out the other day. Just gonna verify. They seem good still. It's been covered and sitting in the garage, so it's not like much is gonna get in there. All right. So it says to apply onto the threads, but I'm gonna verify real quick if that's the actual procedure with the head. Put the glove on, and now I'm applying the AirP Ultra Torque Fastener Assembly Lubricant to the base of the washer. When installing these, you're going to want to have the like the beveled side facing the top of the bolt. Then I also put some lubricant onto the threads. When putting them in at first, you should really only put them in hand tight. So I have all the bolts pretty much hand tight now. So now I'm going to go through and follow ARP's installation instructions and torque them down per this procedure. In this pattern, following this procedure. So let's do it. 2. All right, as you can see, I have my torque wrench right here. We have it set to 25 pounds. And now I got to torque bolts 1 through 10 to 25 pounds for the first pass. So number 1 starts right here. All right, and then number 2. All right, so now that the heads are torqued down, I'm gonna go ahead and install my push rods inside of all the push rod holes. So first I'm gonna do is dip the ends of my push rods in some 5W30 motor oil. Doesn't really need a whole lot, just as long as the ends are covered. And then they just go right on top. So with the current pedestals that I have, they're unable to seat properly, and that's because there's this little tab right here that goes in the stock heads, and since I'm no longer utilizing the stock heads, this tab is not going to be needed anymore. So as soon as I cut that tab, it should be able to seat across this pedestal face properly. All right, so now I was able to cut the tab off. Just went right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on and see if it lines up, which it does perfectly, and it sits very flush now. All right, so now that that's there, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my rocker arms. These are BTR rocker arms with the trunnion upgrade. I don't think I mentioned it before, but I have LS7 lifters in here, and these right here are upgraded. I can't remember the name of these bolts, but these are the upgraded bolts for extra clamping force. And if you're ever doing this at home, make sure that the flat circle is facing the bolt head. Otherwise, you won't be able to torque it down properly. So the way that I torque down the rockers, it's a pretty simple job. All you really have to do is just get you a long breaker bar, because if you were to use a small one, like I was using at first, you're gonna think that the valves are hitting the top of the pistons, which they aren't, but I at first thought they were. So I used a bore scope and I looked inside of the spark plug holes to make sure that it wasn't hitting, and verified it was all good. Previous to this, I checked my piston and valve clearance with Play-Doh and a micrometer, so I knew that it was good, but I was a little bit scared because I've had an issue previous to this where that actually was the case, where my valve was hitting the top of the piston. So don't panic and just automatically assume that you're having issues. Always got to make sure you're using the right tools. So now I have the right tool, and I was able to spin the motor over really easily with this, and made sure that all the intake and the exhaust valves were all the way seated so I could torque the bolts down. The bolts get torqued to 22 foot-pounds, which they're now torqued to. So I might do another pass just to verify that they're all torqued, but they're all have a little Sharpie marks on them, and they're all torqued. And as you can see, this motor spins really good. I think I'm going to end this video off here. I think there was a lot of progress that got done today. I'm happy with it. On the next video, I think I'm going to be putting on the clutch, probably putting on the valve covers. I have to get some knock sensors and a couple other sensors, so probably going to be doing all that. To end this video off, all I'm going to do is just lube up the insides of the rockers where it shoots the oil out, and then I'm going to wrap it up and call it a day. I have this Driven high viscosity lubricant that I'm going to be putting in. I'm not really going to be putting in a lot, just a couple dabs here and there, just so nothing seizes. I'm gonna put a little bit on the cam as well, because this is oiled, but it was a little bit ago when it was oiled, so I'm just gonna put a little bit right there and then spin it over. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.